My name is Bill Kimmer. I am the managing member of Metro Mortgage Consulting. Metro Mortgage Consulting is a third-party loss mitigator. We work with sellers in negotiating short sales. Today we are doing a 9-part series on short sales and foreclosures. This is series number 2 or section 2 regarding foreclosures. Nina, you were a client, came in today and was asking about your options. During the discussion, we brought up the option of a foreclosure. And you had some questions regarding that. How can I help you?
Well, lots of questions. So if I eventually do become laid off, which I will in a month, and I guess I wanted to know the timeline involved with a foreclosure, which would be my first question.
Sure. In Oregon, there are 2 types of foreclosures that we're looking at. One is a judicial, the other is a non-judicial. 99.9% of the foreclosures are going to go through the non-judicial process.
Here in Oregon?
Here in Oregon, and probably throughout the country, except for like 21 states where the non-judicial is not allowed. It has to go through a judicial. So in Oregon, what we're going to do is when you miss a payment, there's going to be a timetable that starts. Basically what you're looking at is from the first time you miss a payment out 90 days, at the 90-day period, the bank is going to send you what's referred to as a notice of default, and that's an NOD. That notice of default is the bank's official notification that you are in default on their loan and they're moving forward with the foreclosure procedure. Prior to this time, you're going to be getting late notices, default notices, phone calls, etc., but you're not going to get a notice of default. Notice of default is going to occur on the 90th day or 3 months. At that point, it's going to give you a date-specific foreclosure date and or auction date, which is the same thing. So they're going to foreclose on your property and auction it off on the courthouse steps. That auction date is going to be out here 120 days from the notice of default, so 4 more months. So you're going to have 3 months until you get your notice of default, then another 4 months until you get the foreclosure date.
Okay. So 7 total. Okay.
7 total. And we should always consider that this notice of default date, or the foreclosure date given to you on the notice of default, is a hard date. They may extend it, but we don't do any of our actions or any of our planning based on that. We expect that we're going to lose the property on that date.
Okay. Okay. And then as far as my credit is concerned, how would a foreclosure affect my credit?
There's a couple aspects of that. Credit is pretty misunderstood. I see a lot of information on the videos, through the internet and so forth, that is completely incorrect. On this aspect of it, we're going to go into credit in detail on section 4 of the videos, but to answer your question, what's going to happen is a couple things. One is one big portion of your credit score, which is your FICO score, has to do with your payment history.
Okay.
So if you can see through a foreclosure, you're going to miss at least 7 payments because it has to go all the way through this process for them to go through the foreclosure.
Wow.
So you're going to have 90, 100, you're going to have a 210-day late payment history.
Reported on my credit report.
On your credit, that's right. You're also going to have public notification. So you're going to have the NOD as a public notification, and you're going to have the foreclosure.
So this is all public information?
The notice of default is a public notification. They will actually put it in a business journal because they have to publicly. The foreclosure procedure is notifying the public of the ability to buy your home at an open auction. So it has to be public. So the notice of default goes into the business journal. They will send you certified letters to make sure you know it. And unfortunately, they will probably also post it on your door. At the foreclosure date, at the auction, it's going to be held at the courthouse steps. They're going to state the address of the property, and it's actually going to be auctioned out there. But in the credit aspect of it, what's going to occur is you're going to have a 210-day late payment history. You're going to have at least 2 notices on here, being the notice of default and the actual foreclosure. Also, the credit reporting bureaus have a check mark for foreclosures. They have it for foreclosures, they have it for bankruptcies. They do not have a check mark for short sales. So you're going to have a credit ding for missed payments, for public records, and for the foreclosure.
Wow. So this is kind of a scenario where I just do nothing but stop making payments but it's public information and it's an auction. It's at the courthouse steps. How does this affect the equity line that I have my second as well?
If you are also continuing to not make payments on your equity line, you're going to have the same aspect of it as far as late payments. One of the big differences is going to be in Oregon. There is an Oregon statute which is going to protect you from the first coming after any deficiency. So they're going to get one chance at collecting from you, and that's going to be the foreclosure procedure. Now, I want to state that Metro Mortgage is not, we are not attorneys, we're not CPAs, we're not trying to give you legal advice or give you accounting advice, and we highly recommend you seek competent professionals in that area. That being said, this statute is public knowledge. You can take a look at Oregon Statute 86770, and it states very clearly that when this goes to foreclosure, the bank cannot come after you for collection activity. But the second is simply going to become a decollateralized note. It's still out there, you still owe the debt, and it has to be addressed.
So it becomes like personal debt?
It's personal debt. So what we will do is in section 5 of this video series, we're going to talk about deficiencies in detail. But it's very important for you to know that if you do the do nothing approach, and you kind of put your head in the sand like an ostrich, and it goes to foreclosure, that second is a live outstanding note, and they will more than likely take collection activity towards you.
Okay, now at what point are they asking me to move? Do I have to move the day that the house goes to auction? And
technically speaking, on the day that the house forecloses, you're supposed to vacate it. In a practical aspect of it, I see homeowners stay in the house at least 30 days after that.
Really?
What happens is you get contacted by the real estate agent who is asking you to leave and asking you to leave the property in good shape. And you should leave it in good shape. There's no reason for you to tear the light fixtures down or damage the property. Typically what will happen even at that case is they may be willing to pay you money to leave in 30 days and leave it in good shape. It's referred to as cash for keys. And they would come in and say, if you leave this in good shape and you do it in this period, they may be willing to pay you some money. But what you should consider is that at the foreclosure date, you should be leaving the property.
Okay. Well, I don't like the idea of not being proactive and doing nothing, and I certainly don't like the idea of it being public. And it looks like it has some pretty serious consequences in regards to my credit rating, so I would like to learn more about the short sale process at this stage.
And I think that's a good avenue to go down. The other thing that happens in a foreclosure is you lose complete control of your destiny. This is going through a process. You're being taken out at this point. You don't get to address the second. In a short sale, we get to at least have some control over what's going on. And right now, having control over your destiny is really, really important.
That sounds good. Much better. Much, much better.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, we'll go into the short sale option here shortly.
Great. That sounds good.